AudioJungle.
Members, parents, and educators, we all share a common vision of schools as safe havens, as places where students can learn, grow, and reach their full potential, where safe communities and strong relationships enable students and parents to flourish, where children are rooted in a strong foundation for what they know, what they do, and who they become. But despite this beautiful vision of what schools are and can be, in reality, research continues to document increases in child and adolescent stress, anxiety, as well as mental and behavioral health struggles. Educators are burnt out and stressed out. The increase in student emotional and behavioral challenges feel like too much to carry. What is happening here, and what can we do about it? Let's look at the roots of these problems, starting with the science of stress. Stress, we've all felt it, and we usually don't think too highly of it. But science actually tells us that low to moderate stress levels are where the best learning happens. This is when you're stimulated enough so that you're not bored, yet safe and calm enough to focus and perform without worrying. This safe zone is where creativity and learning are unleashed. It's where educators want to be when they're teaching, and where they want their students to be when they're learning. But when we experience too much stress, a light, refreshing rain can quickly begin to feel like a frightening thunderstorm, replacing growth and learning with fear and anxiety. When stress becomes unmanageable, this can overwhelm a person's capacity to cope, also known as trauma. Trauma can occur in the wake of one-time stressful events like a car accident, witnessing a death, or a natural disaster. Trauma also occurs in response to experiences with prolonged or systemic stressors like being in an abusive or neglectful home, losing a caregiver, experiencing racism, or living in poverty. These experiences impact how safe we feel inside our homes, our schools, and our communities. Trauma often involves experiences of shock, threat, overwhelm, or powerlessness. It leaves a person feeling helpless, vulnerable, exhausted, or very frightened. When we encounter a threat, our bodies and brains launch a stress response, fight, flight, or freeze, to defend against whatever danger we may be facing. These stress responses give our bodies quick energy to deal with what's in front of us. Our muscles tense, our heart rate speeds up, and then when the stressor goes away, we can quickly and easily recover. But here's the thing. Our body's stress response is designed to function very effectively in small doses. After all, we don't expect to be running from tigers every day. So what happens when our stress response is activated excessively, day after day, either through repeated stress or simply by reliving memories related to past stress? At this point, stress becomes toxic and begins to have a wear and tear effect on our bodies, kind of like what would happen if you ran nonstop for days, weeks, and months at a time. This load of toxic and traumatic stress not only wears us down, it weighs us down. Because when stress is chronic or too intense, it may become stored in the body, kind of like an invisible backpack full of bricks. Carrying this load makes it harder to teach, learn, and flourish. Trauma has many side effects, including impairing our physical, mental, and emotional health, growing parts of the brain that make us more reactive, and shrinking parts of the brain related to memory and learning. All of these changes may lead to withdrawal, inattention, depression, anxiety, and exhaustion. As pioneer researcher and physician Dr. Nadine Burke-Harris describes it, 20 years of medical research has shown that childhood adversity literally gets under our skin, changing people in ways that can endure in their bodies for decades. Because trauma gets under our skin, the more threatening or prolonged the event or experience, the larger and more chronic the body's stress response, and the more potential there is for harm. But here's why it's only a potential for harm. Even when two people experience the exact same stressor, the impact of trauma on the brain, body, and learning is unique to each person. The key factor here is whether a person has had the opportunity to develop resilience or the capacity to bounce back and recover after stress and trauma. Resilience is shaped by three factors. First, a person's ability to tolerate stress. Second, a person's access to protection during stress. And finally, the opportunities a person has had to recover after stress. First, the ability to cope with stress, also known as stress tolerance. Every person has a unique tolerance for stressful or traumatic events based on their early experiences, genetics, age, development, and other factors. A young child with a sensitive temperament and a traumatic history might struggle to tolerate even small stressors, while a mature adult who's built a sturdy self-regulation system and has had many secure relationships will be able to tolerate more stress. Paradoxically, experiencing a lot of stress can make us more sensitive to, not more tolerant of stress. Second, we develop more resilience when we have had access to protection and safe communities, when there is someone or somewhere to go to find comfort or safety, versus being alone and powerless during difficult experiences. This could be a safe place to run to, a positive relationship with a nurturing caregiver, or very often, a warm and caring educator. Finally, the third factor, the opportunity to recover after stress. We bounce back from stressful experiences more readily when we can let go of them through physical movement, creative expression, or emotional releases, such as being held, crying, or talking with supportive friends, therapists, educators, or caregivers. The more stress tolerance, protection, and recovery opportunities a person has in the face of stress, the more capable they'll be to navigate and even thrive in everyday stressful situations. On the other hand, if a person lacks stress tolerance, protection, and recovery opportunities, even seemingly small stressors like a test can create significant stress. At this point, you may be wondering, what kind of damage has stress and trauma created for me, my family, my coworkers, my students? How can I promote resilience and recovery in the face of stress and trauma? Here's the good news. Many people think that the brain is formed in infancy or childhood and then stops changing. But in actuality, the brain changes throughout our lifespan and is constantly rewiring itself in response to experiences. The brain's ability to change and adapt to experiences is called neuroplasticity. Thanks to neuroplasticity, just as the brain adapts to danger and can be harmed, it can also adapt to safety and be healed. The key to neuroplasticity is relationships. Because humans are social creatures who are wired to connect, we can use our voice, eyes, posture, and nonverbals to create safety for one another. Warm eye contact, soothing voice, and healthy touch from a protector can calm a frightened or stressed person, bringing the body into a safe zone. By providing this kind of safety in your relationships, you hold the power to spark neuroplasticity and learning. Here's something even more amazing. A safe relationship not only creates regulation and resilience in the present, incredibly, it has the power to store regulation and resilience away for the future. How does this work? Over the course of our development, humans go on a journey from being almost completely regulated by others, like a hungry, crying infant who needs the constant care of an adult, to being co-regulated, where we get help from another person as we attempt to regulate ourselves, to finally becoming primarily self-regulated. With the help of a secure, caring relationship, a person learns, not only can I move from distress to calm, but I can depend on relationships in the future to help me do this. Warm, boundaried, empathetic, and genuine relationships are the bridge from stress to safety. And through the relationships that you build, you hold the power to spark neuroplasticity, build resilience, and promote healing for the people in your life. And the best part of all, research has shown that it just takes one One supportive relationship can protect and heal from the impacts of trauma and stress. You are that one person. At Fuel Ed, our vision is a world where educator training and support is reimagined to prioritize educators' emotional intelligence, emotional well-being, and relationship skills. With emotionally intelligent, relationship-driven educators building secure relationships in every classroom and every school, we can build a happier, healthier, more whole world. Join the movement to fuel schools with the power of relationships.